Wild game day, and also a Minnesota T-Wolves game day. Big game for each team, division game for each. Like I said, it's big game day for both games. Quick episode here, Twin City Sports Talk. Bruce Kramer here. Um, and it's going to be just a quick one, like I said. So first, getting to the Minnesota Wild game. The Wild are going into this game against the Chicago Blackhawks in Chicago. They are 12-7-4. Chicago being 10-8-4. Connor Bedard having a great start to his season. And our guys like Kirill and Boldy having a great start to their season. I'll just go over just one or two things from each game I want to see happen, and then get to my predictions, which I need to start hitting more of. Which, yeah, it's been bad. I'll tell you that right now. And honestly, for the Wild, it's pretty dang simple. Keep this competitive aggressiveness edge that you've had these past few games. We don't know if that's just a side effect of Jesper Wallstedt being great and giving that chip up on this on the forwards, the defensemen, getting them to play. But we had a day's rest. It's not like it's back-to-back games. If they keep playing the way they have been playing, it will turn into a fun game, and it's so fun to watch at that point because I mean nothing is better than that than seeing a hockey team of yours just outskating the other team, outdoing everything in a game that they can be doing. So it's going to be a good one. I'm excited. Um, and that's really the biggest thing. Just aggressiveness, beat them to the pucks, limit Connor Bedard in any way you can. Nico Sturm have another good second game of the season for you. Pretty simple, pretty dang simple there. All right, a little bit more complex though. For the Minnesota Timberwolves, the Wolves are coming off of two abysmal games against the Phoenix Suns and the Sacramento Kings, two games they should have won, had it won with 2 minutes left. And they got steamrolled in the last 2 minutes and then in overtime against the Kings. Two not great teams. And in that Phoenix game, Devin Booker was fouled out. That makes it even worse. Now they travel to OKC tonight to play the 17-1 Thunder, maybe the greatest team of all time. They're definitely, I mean, record-wise, I don't know if I'd agree that they're the best of all time, but record-wise, they're very much on pace to beat Golden State's record for the best record in the NBA. Anthony Edwards coming in hot, scoring 41 points against the Kings. One thing I want to see tonight is not just have him be the feature. And I'm not really worried about it because most of the time in the game spent against the Kings and the Phoenix Suns was Ant chucking the ball around and then moving the ball more. But then when it gets down to that pressure time, the Wolves almost just say, all right, Ant versus the whole other five on the other team, because Ant against the Kings in overtime, he took 7 out of the 10 first shots out of the possessions in overtime there. And it led to a loss because Ant's not going to make every shot, and we need to find open passes, and we also need to be smart. OKC is great defensively. This is two good defensive teams. The Wolves are coming in, holding the teams under 110 points the last few games, and and I guess that's not really going to be how it is against OKC. Shea, SGA, he is 41% from three right now. Obviously, he's at the charity stripe quite a bit. 90% free throw shooter. That's something Ant needs to improve in his game. Ant needs to be a 90 to 93% free throw shooter, and right now he's sitting at 83. Isaiah Hardenstein for OKC is having a fantastic start to the year. And then they have guys on like the bench that come in for defensive reasons. One is Cason Wallace on OKC. He's averaging over 2 steals a game, which is just it's levels above Jaden McDaniels defensively. Jaden stays in front of guys. He boxes out. He does everything that he needs to do, and it's great that we have him. And the other thing with Jaden, he's really emerged into a high-level scorer over the past few games, and really just the start of the year, which is great to see because that's something we really need is these guys to take the next step. Another thing about that Sacramento loss, we got absolutely zero help from our bench. Dante DiVincenzo, he scored 14 off the bench, and Naz Reid scored 14 points, but 11 of those being in the first quarter. He scored 2 or 3 the rest of the game. And that is 4 periods, 3 quarters, and then an overtime period. Naz was a non-factor the entire game. except the first. Other than those two, the bench on the Sacramento game, they scored 0 points. Terrence Shannon, Rob Dillingham, everyone else, none. Nada. 0 points from the bench. That can't happen. This bench needs to come on fire, which I think they will tonight. I genuinely do think they will. And it's so hard to look at this game and say if the Wolves will win or lose this game because they can. They can compete with OKC. They definitely can. And you have to imagine after these last two games that the Wolves are going to come in with their hair on fire at least a little bit and come out aggressive and fast, I would assume. But then again, that's what I wanted them to do against Sacramento, and they treated it like it was some JV team that they were playing. It's so hard to say with the Wolves. They're so off and on every other day, really, and it's just not it's not easy to read the team because Ant, you could tell he was frustrated at the end of that, rightfully so. He missed a bunch of shots in overtime, but that's my point to that is he shouldn't be needing to take every shot in overtime, and you gotta find rebounds on the offensive side of the court and get after it, and just it's the same thing with the Wild and Wolves. Be aggressive, you'll win the game. All right, especially with the Wild. And I'll go back to the Wild for a second to talk about this absolute heater they are on. Again, the Wild are 8-1-1 in November. They are on a 5-game winning streak. And just like I was saying, that is all credit to aggressiveness, beating the other team to the puck, being scrappy on the boards, and getting guys in front of the net, limiting chances, blocking shots. That is the winning formula. And these games, this 5-game winning streak, the first 3 of those were at home. Okay. Anaheim is one of the biggest NHL surprises this year record wise, and how they're playing. Anaheim right now is 14-7, which is just a great start for them. And then you get revenge from the playoff series last year, and you get a win against the Vegas Golden Knights in overtime. So that's even better with the Kirill Kaprizov overtime winner there. And then you get to the Carolina game where it was a Jesper Wallstedt masterclass. In the actual game, there was a few times you could tell he got out of sorts, but after that, he was perfect, absolutely perfect in the penalty shootout and in overtime. That game was super fun to watch, my funnest game of the year so far. But then you go to Pittsburgh, you get a 5-0 shutout. Pittsburgh's old, very veteran-like, but they are veterans. They know how to play, so it's not always going to be an easy game there. And then you go this past Sunday to Winnipeg, and you get a 3-0 Jesper Wallstedt, another shutout. In this game, like I've said on the channel already, lots of stuff that pops off the page there, which is just the block shots, the limited chances. Winnipeg had 62 shots attempted. Only 32 of them got to the net, and they didn't have many second chance efforts there. But then if you go beyond that, they also have a shutout against Calgary this month. They lost to San Jose in overtime, which that stinks. That was all Macklin Celebrini in that game. But then the other loss in the month is to Carolina. So they're beating good teams right now, and it's a great. So I will say my only worry for tonight is that there's a slight chance that the Wild are looking past this game, because if anyone remembers or if they know, the Wild have the best team in the NHL on Friday in the Colorado Avalanche, who, if I'm not mistaken, I'll look it up real quick, 16-1-5. 16-1. I mean, that's impressive to say the very least, and it is definitely a worry to something that you could be looking forward to and look past Chicago. I don't think they will with the way they've been playing recently. For the most part, they're staying healthy. We have young guys gaining more confidence. But yeah, it's an iffy one here in Chicago. And on that note, let me get to my predictions. All right, here's the deal. Predictions on the show have not been friendly to me. That's my own fault. I am 0-6 on my predictions. Just absolutely embarrassing. It's terrible. It really is. And And part of me thinks, well, maybe I'm just cursed. Maybe I'm just jinxing whatever team I'm choosing. So I mean, maybe the smart thing tonight would say, hey, Blackhawks are going to win and OKC is going to win. I'll tell you one of those is how I'm going to go. And that one is OKC is pretty much unstoppable. And the Wolves are pretty terrible. Just flat out. I don't need to pull up stats to tell you or show you. The Wolves are pretty terrible in late game situations. I mean, last year they were last in like percentage of like clutch or like game winning shot statistic, whatever, however you quantify that. The Wolves are terrible in these situations, and here's the thing. I see, like, here we go, 10% chance of the Wolves, or wait a second, I'll give you a 5% chance that the Wolves blow the Thunder out, because that just won't happen with how the Thunder are built. They're built to stay in games and be aggressive the whole way through with Caruso and Wallace. And then I'd say maybe it's like a 55% chance. Well, no. I'll go 45% chance that it's a close game. Like comes down to the wire, comes down to the last 2 or 3 minutes, which the Wolves would obviously lose with how they've played the last 2 games. Then that would leave a 50% slot for the OKC Thunder blowing the Wolves out, which that could easily happen. The Wolves bench been off and on all year. All right, you get Terrence Shannon back, Terrence Shannon was a big key in the playoff series against OKC last year. So that brings me a little calmness right there, but he was also terrible the other night, defensively and offensively. He'll find his way, but no, I have OKC winning. I think it will be a close game. I think the Wolves are going to come to play tonight. They know how big of a game it is, and not to mention it is an NBA Cup game, so this has a lot for some players. Earning that bonus from the winning the NBA Cup has a lot riding there. I think it'll be a close game until the last few minutes, and I think the Thunder will be up going into the last few minutes, but I think they'll start to pull away with fouls, Wolves panicking, taking bad shots. I got the Thunder, I'm going to say 123 to 111. Okay, 123 to 111. All right. Wolves lose. That's what I got for you, which would be a 3-game losing streak, which would be hard. Not to mention they have Boston and San Antonio coming up after that. All right, moving on to the Wild game. I'll get right to the point here. I'm assuming it's Gustafsson starting in the net. He's been all right this year. He's gonna have a hard time a decently hard time with that first line of Chicago. They have goal scorers, Bedard, and I think it'll be a good game. I truly do. Both teams, it's a great rivalry. With how the Wild have played, this is going to come back to haunt me because it already has like 6 times. Wild win 4-2. That's what I got for you. Wild win 4-2 in Chicago, and then they come back home to play the red hot Colorado Avalanche. Other than that, I mean, a Wild win. Wolves win maybe in a few days. I don't think it'll be tonight. Other than that, I don't have anything else. This needed to be a quick episode, and it was. So I will talk to all of you guys soon. Thanks for watching Twin City Sports Talk. Bruce Kramer. I am out.